بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك زين الأنبياء،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك زين الأنبياء، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك أصفى الأصفياء،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك أصفى الأصفياء، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك أزكى الأزكياء،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك أزكى الأزكياء، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك أتقى الأتقياء،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك أتقى الأتقياء، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك من رب السماء،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك من رب السماء، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك أحمد يا حبيبي،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك أحمد يا حبيبي، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك طه يا طبيبي،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك طه يا حبيبي، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك يا مسكي وطيبي،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك يا مسكي وطيبي، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك أحمد يا محمد،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك أحمد يا
Testing, mic test.
محمد، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك طه يا ممجد،
السلام عليك، السلام عليك طه يا ممجد، السلام عليك،
السلام عليك يا كهف وما
dalam surah Al-Isra pada ayat yang pertama yang berbunyi
Testing, test.
yang bermaksud menghadiri Allah yang telah memperjalankan hamba-Nya pada suatu malam
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, my dear respected viewers, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue with our session in answering some religious queries that has been brought into our attention, and we pray that Allah bless all of us inshallah with tawfiq and hidayah, and may Allah bless us with taqwa and istiqamah in amal and understanding in deen. Ameen ya rabbal alameen. So inshallah we will look at these questions, and these questions are basically the questions that are posted in the Telegram. I do not have much time to type the answer, so I will just answer any of these questions here inshallah ta'ala. So question number 1 is asking, Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Wa alaikum assalam. For wudhu, kufh, can I confirm that it applies only to boots, leather shoes that cover above the ankle? Does it apply to other shoes like sneakers that cover the ankle as well? Also, for instance, if you work in a wet and dirty area, can we also apply the same technique regardless of the type of shoes? Pertaining to kufh, what is important is that it must cover all the way up to the ankles, and including the ankles, and it must be waterproof, and it must be shoes that are that can stand, that are durable, shoes that are durable. So this includes any sneakers, this includes any boots. So it is regardless about the type of shoes. And what is important is then the conditions must be present, that it must cover up to the ankles, it must be waterproof, it must be durable. That is enough. So even if a person use the boots use in the markets for example, that is permissible. So it doesn't mean that the top part must be covered fully. What is important is cover all the way up above the ankles. That is enough. So this includes many types of shoes. So if you understand these conditions, inshallah there is no issue. The next question asking, what is the ruling for henna during weddings? Does it require to be a certain color? Are there hadiths on it? Pertaining to henna, it is a sunnah for the bride to use henna during any wedding. This is mentioned, for example, in Muqaddimah Hadramiyah, for example. It is a sunnah for the bride to use henna. This is a form of beautification, especially when comes to weddings. But what is important for us also to take note that what is mentioned by the author of Muqaddimah Hadramiyah when he said that it is only for the husband and to be shown to only to the ladies, because we have an opinion in Madhab al-Imam Shafi'i that the hands of a woman is part of the body part that is wajib for her to cover. So we have an opinion within the Madhab al-Imam Shafi'i that the hands and the face that it is compulsory for women to cover when it comes to being in front of those who are non-mahram, men who are non-mahram. So because of this, you find in Muqaddimah Hadramiyah he mentioned, the author mentioned that if it's sunnah for ladies to wear henna during weddings, but it is not permissible for her to show the hand to the ajnabi, men who are non-mahram. So she wears the henna, and the henna specifically for the husband, and likewise it is permissible for her to show for the woman folk. So what is happening in our society today is very different, and you find brides wearing henna and showing the hands to the rest of the people around her. So this is not appropriate. So this is a thing that we have to know. If you understand this ruling, we should understand that there are differences amongst the scholars pertaining to showing of the hands, especially when there is henna. So once we know this ruling, then we should abstain. We should abstain when it comes to weddings that we show our hands with the henna. So some people what they do is they wear gloves. They wear gloves when it comes to the in the public. So that is to show that the henna is still worn, but it is specifically for the husband. That is the sunnah. At what time are we no longer allowed any to pray Isyak? Isyak prayers if the dawn any has come, any meaning the time of Fajr any has come, when the Fajr Sadiq, where the light any of the where the light white light any encompass any the horizon. So this is the time in the Fajr. Then only we are not any permissible. The time any of Isyak any has ended. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. How do you answer this to an atheist? If you say that your religion forbid you from mocking other religions, then why are the Buddha statue that are thousands of years old destroyed by the Taliban in Afghanistan? In Afghanistan, what are the scholars any ruling on this incident when the Taliban blew up the Buddha statue? Pertaining to the situation in Afghanistan, the Buddha statues in Afghanistan, this is an abandoned site. Nobody is worshipping any those statues. This is in accordance to what any of the scholars in Afghanistan are saying, and the Taliban themselves are saying that since you have any these statues there, nobody is what you call it worshipping any these statues anymore. These are all any statues, and it is an abandoned any site. So they take the decision to break any this to break any these idols, because this is any state owned. This is any state owned, and if you are the government of a country and you want to get rid of a certain statue for example, or certain things, and it is not any affiliated to any worshippers in your country, then it is permissible for you to do so. But in the situation where there are people who are worshipping for example practicing certain religions and certain societies, then it is not permissible for the Muslims to break those idols, because it is based on what we always mention, that Islam la ikraha fid din, there is no any compulsion in religion. So when we look at situations like that, we have to understand the context. We have to understand the context of the situation and the reason why they are breaking into statues. So number one is what I mentioned, nobody is worshipping those statues down there, and it is an abandoned site. And of course the fear that Muslims might be doing certain acts that will tarnish his faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If some people for example doing certain shirk and so on and so forth. So it is to avoid all these things from happening. That was the reason why they broke those idols. If a person has taken wudu and he has ghalaba zan, whether he broke his wudu or not shak, should he take wudu again? And if he takes any wudu again, would it be valid? So if this person is asking that he has taken wudu and he has ghalaba zan. What is ghalaba zan? Ghalaba zan meaning high possibility that he has wudu. So if you have the higher possibility that you have any wudu, meaning you have wudu. This is not any doubt. This is not any doubt with 50-50. This is ghalabatu zan. You have the higher what you call it feeling that you have the wudu. So there is no issue. You have any wudu, there is no need for you to take wudu again. You can take wudu again when it comes to tajdidul wudu, because your wudu is valid. So there is no need for you to take wudu again, in the sense that it has been invalidated, because it has not been invalidated. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. May I know if this is possible, may I pay my zakat harta in monthly installment for those past years which I have not fulfilled during my ignorant days, and the amount duration is based on my best effort to calculate, and anything extra we treat as sadaqah? Yes, you can. This is considered to be a making up for the past years the zakah that you have not paid. So what you need to do firstly is you have to calculate how much is your zakah. Then only monthly when you have the money, you set aside to pay the zakah. So when comes to the payment of zakah, you must make the intention as zakah and not sadaqah. So you have to know how much is your zakah, and then after that you pay back based on your capacity. But the upcoming zakah, you have to follow the haul. You have to follow when your zakah is due, and it is compulsory upon you to pay when the time comes. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. Untuk orang yang nak nikah perlu ada dua saksi lelaki. Saksi ini boleh sesiapa yang ada di majlis nikah. Adakah saksi untuk pengantin wanita sahaja atau perlu ada saksi yang berlainan untuk pengantin lelaki sahaja? Lelaki juga. Berkenaan dengan saksi, sesiapa saja boleh menjadi saksi selagi mana syarat saksi itu ada kepadanya. Daripada syarat saksi adalah dia bukan wali bagi wanita itu, dan dia mesti orang yang adil, Orang yang adil, yang maksudnya tidak melakukan dosa besar dan tidak melakukan dosa kecil dengan berterusan. Jadi sama ada daripada pihak lelaki ataupun daripada pihak wanita. Biasanya adat kita di Singapura, kita ambil satu daripada pihak lelaki, satu daripada pihak perempuan. Ini dalam segi kita mengatakan adat saja. Tetapi berkenaan dengan saksi, sesiapa saja ini boleh menjadi saksi apabila mereka menepati syarat-syarat tersebut. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. May I know, I want to know, is it okay to perform any Umrah during COVID, or it is better to stay home to lower the risk of spreading COVID? This depends on the health and the condition of a person, and if a person is healthy and there is nothing wrong with his health, and the fact that the situation of COVID now is a situation where it is not a disease that is of very high risk that can cause death, or that can cause any immediate dangers to people. So in that consideration, the harm is not as we expect in the when the beginning of the time of COVID. So in this situation, and if a person is healthy, and if a person wants to perform any Umrah, it is permissible for him or her to perform Umrah, and it is also compulsory upon him to protect himself by wearing mask and all these procedures to prevent him or her from getting any COVID. Then we say that yes, it is permissible for him and for her to perform the Umrah. So it is better for him or for her to perform the Umrah if she has the opportunity to do so. Unless if a person is in a situation where the doctor is saying that he has certain disease, that if afflicted with COVID, and for example it can result in death, in this situation it is better to prevent oneself from going to Umrah. And when it comes to spreading COVID, of course we have all this the days that when a person reaches Singapore, for example, he has to do all this quarantine and so on and so forth. So all these procedures will prevent someone from the spread of COVID in the community. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. Is it permissible to perform ablution and solat for a person who's working that involve checking of bin shoes for rodent inspections? Yes, it is permissible to perform ablution and salat for those people, as long as there is no najis, that he is convinced there is no najis. So when it comes to checking in the bin shoes, these are dirt and things that are dirty. So when it comes to taking ablution, and make sure a person clean himself from the traces of those dirty things, then he performs the prayers, and the prayer is valid. Assalamualaikum salam. Is it haram to receive money that was compensated from a tragic death of someone? So the question is asking, what I understand from this question, is that someone passed away, and then somebody else became the reason for that death. So there is a compensation that was paid to the family of the deceased. Is this compensation halal? Yes, and this is considered to be the blood money, adiyah. So even in secular laws, they adopted the concept of adiyah in Islam. So this is an Islamic concept, that if a person cause the death of another person, there must be compensation. So in our Islamic law, we have a few types of compensation, whether this person is intentional or not intentional. If a person is not intentional, for example, then he has to pay the 100 camels, the compensation of 100 camels. And whether it is immediate or not immediate, it depends on the nature of the death of that persons. But when it comes to the compensation, yes, it is within the Islamic law. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikumsalam. Apa hukum membuka aib adik-beradik untuk menjatuhkan silaturahim? Ini adalah dosa daripada dosa yang besar. Kita mengelakkan diri kita daripada melakukan perkara-perkara seperti ini. Mudah-mudahan Allah Subhanahu wa taala memberikan kepada kita taufik. Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. What makes an umrah sah, and is it permissible for a female to go umrah alone without mahram, but with an agency in a group? When it comes to the umrah, if a person is female going alone, but goes with a group of ladies, for example, it is permissible. It is permissible. So there is no need for her to have the mahram with her. The umrah will be valid. when it comes into what makes an Umrah sah, all this goes back into the pillars of Umrah, the conditions of Tawaf, all these things must be studied before a person goes into Umrah, so that the Umrah becomes sah. Assalamualaikum Ustaz. Waalaikum Assalam. If I have a family member who passed away and he still owe money to my late grandfather, can I donate the money that is owed for charitable causes in the name of my late grandfather? Yes, you can. So make the intention that you are paying the debt of your grandfather to that family member. You will get the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is considered to be sadaqah towards your late grandfather. Alhamdulillah, we have reached the end. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us with goodness in dunya, goodness in akhirah. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. خل المقادير تمضي لا تغالبها، فإن من غالب الأقدار مغلوب. إن القضاء لسيف لا يقاومه شيء من الخلق إلا وهو محبوب. وامشي رويدا مع الأقدار في مهل، فإن من يكره